The last decade has witnessed a truly modern phenomenon. Thousands of men and women faced with potentially fatal illnesses have turned to the internet for help with life and death decisions. Here they can find a world of knowledge and support far beyond what they can learn in their limited time with doctors. The medical establishment is adjusting to their patients' increased understanding of a variety of medical conditions. This shared knowledge is changing the course of how illnesses are managed.
That site caught my attention because it had profiles, case histories, life stories of guys from all around the world who've been diagnosed.
This is the story of 3 men and their families who've turned to anonymous strangers to discuss life, death, sex, and Viagra.
It's not so much the side effect avoidance as staying alive, really, if you know what I mean. That's a priority.
Together, they're dealing with the same disease and potentially face the end of their sex lives, a loss of dignity, or even the loss of their lives.
What went through my head was, oh my God, I'm going to die.
It's extraordinary to think that there's one type of cancer that occurs in 2/3 of all men by the age of 80. Diagnoses of this cancer have increased threefold in 3 decades. It's the most common cancer in UK men. Prostate cancer affects a small part of the male reproductive system, the walnut-sized prostate gland, which is found just below the bladder. Perhaps it's the gland's intimate position inside men's bodies that makes it so hard to talk about, and awareness of this cancer lower than many others. Despite its prevalence, if caught early, prostate cancer is also increasingly survivable. Martin Jones is 56 and a professor of archaeology at Cambridge University.
I've been doing archaeology since I was a school kid. I just loved it from the start. I mean, I think I sort of fantasized about the past from about the age of 8 or something. There was something kind of exciting about it.
I think what's happened there is you started off with some whole millet seeds, and it's actually been cooked into a sort of porridge.
Okay.
I look at the remains of garbage in various forms to see what people ate a few hundred years ago, or a few thousands of years ago, or even tens of thousands of years ago. I'm also very interested in those 2 sides of being human, one as a social person and one as a biological organism, and the mysterious way in which they interconnect. I've had problems peeing since my 40s, I think, actually. And so I've known that I've had symptoms typical of some problem with the prostate. I don't think I knew much about the prostate at all, really, except it was there and it was getting in the way of my peeing, basically. Obviously, I didn't know I had cancer at that stage, but I knew it was something to check out. So over the last 5 years, I've had occasional PSA tests.
PSA tests measure the level of a protein produced by the prostate. Though a high PSA can be caused by a number of different factors, it can also signal the early signs of cancer and warrant further investigation. Tiny biopsy samples collected using an anal probe.
Part of me was kind of half expecting that there may be a problem, but I was nevertheless pretty relaxed about it. Before they stuck the probe up my backside, that removed the relaxation a bit.
Martin has recently received the results of his biopsy, and as he suspected, it wasn't good news. Martin has the early stages of cancer in his prostate.
I think of cancer as a biologist rather than an emotional person, and it seems to me a totally unsurprising thing to happen. It did prompt thoughts about what it was to get old and to face your mortality, far more than it did about how my body was working. And cycling home, I thought, what am I going to say to Lucy?
Available now on iTunes.